In the last assignment, I mentioned that there is something special happening. If we navigate to the main page and back to blog, we see that loading bar at the top. Now you might say, sure, we're waiting for the post to be loaded. That's what you told us. And we are. But the strange thing is, no server-side rendering is happening here. Remember what I said? Once the first page has been loaded, which essentially happens whenever you refresh or enter a new URL, once that is done, we have a single page application. So if I click on the logo now, this actually doesn't fetch a new page from the server. It changes in JavaScript only. Our initially fetched page still is the same. I can prove this to you by going back to our main page and in asyncData, let's console log asyncData is executed. Let's save this. It's on the main index.view file. Let's go back to our page and let's reload that main page. Once it reloads, check the console log on the right. You won't see that message here. You do see it, however, if you go back to the editor and have a look at the terminal where your development server is running, because asyncData here is executed on the server. Makes sense, I guess. That is what I told you. However, let's go back to the app and make sure to not reload the page. Go to blog or some other link and go back to the main page. Now you see asyncData is executed in the console. If you go back to the terminal, you now don't see it a second time here. Because, remember what I said, once the first page was loaded, you have a single page app, and that is what's happening here. If we refresh the page or we enter a new URL, the code runs on the server. If we then navigate around and click links with next link or router push, then we stay inside the single page app, and asyncData now actually executes on the client. It still waits for it to finish before it shows us the finished page, but now Next.js is actually showing us this loading bar at the top to improve the user experience, and it's now doing all of that in the browser. Because here search engine optimization doesn't matter anymore, and we can now actually provide a more pleasant experience by showing a spinner or stuff like that if we stick in the browser. And that is all handled for us automatically. We wait on the server anyways if we refresh the page. If we are on the page, it happens in the browser. This is the special thing I want you to take away. AsyncData is always something we wait for, but does not always run on the server. It only does so if we are loading the page for the first time because we refreshed it or we entered a new URL. And with that, let's dive into that context object, which can help us with finding out where we're running and also with doing some other useful things.